ready to go to therapy, and I had an obsessive thought, so I thought I'd go ahead and share that with you. I'm going to do this thing again where I hump you around either side of the tent. So, I was thinking about how you can tell a lot about a person. You can tell a lot about what a person has struggled with if you listen to the words that they use more than once in a conversation with even a good friend, and if in the course of using those words multiple times, repeating those words, they're trying to uplift the person they're talking to, you can really tell what that person has struggled with. Because the words we repeat, you have to understand, you're not a writer. You're not a creative thinker. You're not a wordsmith. You're not a creative talker, okay? In fact, you're probably the kind of person who doesn't even really know that you're supposed to be artful in the way you use your language as an intelligent person. You probably have no idea that the way you speak indicates the way you think. It probably has never occurred to you. Likely has never occurred to you. Why is it likely that it's never occurred to you? Because you talk like an idiot. And even when you write, you try to write up in language and you do it wrong, which means that you don't use that language, that higher mode of language, that higher thought language. You don't use it. And you think it's just like formal. You think it's a formal language that you use when you're writing to a stranger, but you don't even really know how to write formal in English. You don't know how to oh wow, it snowed. It snowed again last night, evidently. You want to do a reveal with me? You want to see it with me? You might get to see my pea spot, so just be advised of that. Oh yeah, look at that. It snowed another between 2 and 3 inches last night. And it's still coming down now. Alright, where's that at? Shit. So, while we're here doing that, and I'm getting the snow off my feet so it doesn't get my socks any wetter than they need to be, this is where I remind you that I do have financial goals, fiduciary goals. I do still need your help, either directly or indirectly. I'm trying to get my hands on a nice waterproof coat that I can wear. Maybe even over top of this one. Maybe even. That might be a little bougie, or it might be nice. Asking for a little bit more comfort than is strictly necessary. And that's a sin with you guys. Not just a sin, it's a sin for which you will actually castigate me. You won't castigate anyone for committing sins in your proximity. But if they tell you that they are selling a product and they want to be paid for that product because they worked really hard to make it, by golly, you go insane. So, what I was thinking about, I titled this so I would remember to actually get to what I'm thinking about today. And now I don't remember what the title was. And yeah, I'm going to struggle to remember exactly what I was thinking about. Oh, there's still candy in this hat. Yes, I got a little $1 5-pack of Twix. And yes, it costs $1.25 because damn near everything at Dollar Tree costs $1.25. I really can't remember what I was going to talk about. And it's an important topic. My brain just doesn't work. It does not work at peak efficiency when I am not stoned. I just can't remember anything. And it's supposed to be the opposite of that. I just can't remember anything. I'm thinking about too many things, is what it is. I got too many things on my mind. I got therapy on my mind. Look, it froze my Mountain Dew, slushed up my Mountain Dew last night. That snow fucked me up. You can tell a lot about what a person thinks by how they speak, by what they say when they speak. And yeah, you guys aren't critical of the people in your lives. You wouldn't say the things you say to me. You wouldn't say the spirit of things that you say to me if you didn't think that my homelessness proved that I was some form of less than you. My homelessness is the only, basically, people in extreme poverty are the only people lesser than you. And you know it. And so you speak to them the way the people who are your betters speak to you. Like you're useless. Like you're less than mentally retarded, because at least mentally retarded people are a protected class. You are less than that. That's how you're treated at work. That's how you're treated by your social environment. That's how you're treated by your relationships. And so you look around the world, and you say, who is not protected? Who is not a protected class of being? And who is lesser than me? Who is less powerful, less well defended than I? And then you attack. Why do you attack? Because they're not defended and they're lower power than you. And the only way that you know how to engage in the world is with video game rules. And in video game rules, it's just like those stupid tower games that they advertise all the time. And see, I make my money right now off mobile games. And mobile games are actually a very good metaphor for basic algorithms of engaging in the world, because that's what they all are. They're all oh boy, they're all tight loop gameplay, type gameplay loop based around one aspect of human life. But yeah, you can tell a lot about a person by what they repeatedly say. By the words, the individual words they choose to repeat while they're speaking. To you or to anyone. To you or where you're listening. And so I'm thinking about this specifically because I listened to a Matthew Stafford interview yesterday. With Rich Eisen, and he kept using the word meaningful, and that was a superlative to him. It was a word that he would be like, he was talking about various games, or basically anytime Rich would ask him a question, he would say that was meaningful, or it wasn't difficult to find meaning in that, or that was pretty meaningful, right? And what I'm trying to tell you is that people who've been through it, I'm putting you in my pocket, you can tell what people have been through and what their habitual mindset was while they were going through it by the repeat words they use, but in an inverse fashion. So Matt Stafford had been through it. Matt Stafford has been through it. Matt Stafford has, if you don't know, Matthew Stafford was the first quarterback to go winless in an NFL season. Now, he has a Super Bowl victory, so that really had nothing to do with Matthew Stafford. He was a rookie, and he got hurt that rookie season. And he just had, his coach was just overmatched by the NFL game. Just wasn't prepared to be an NFL head coach. Okay, so I got you here. Whew. This snow is getting thick and deep, hard. It's starting to really come back down, and my hips hurt. Sleeping on that hard ground, man, really hurts your hips. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that the repeat word that Matthew Stafford used was meaningful, and that you could really use him as a case study, but you can really tell what people have been through, what they've struggled with, and see, what you struggle with isn't a moment. If you're struggling with a repeat moment, you are in non-linear dream time, and you need to wake the fuck up. And what that means is you need to take a real long, hard look at your life and break some of your fucking habits. That's not hard. Whew. But you can really tell what a person struggles with. You can really tell what their mindset was like while they were going through it by the words they repeat on the other side. And you can really tell by watching Matthew Stafford talk that guy really struggled with finding meaning in all that losing. Oh, I got you upside down. Matthew Stafford really struggled in his youth with finding meaning in all of that losing. And I've never met Matthew Stafford. Basically what I'm doing is I'm telling you, you can psychoanalyze people. If you're smart and you know what you're looking at. And you know what you're hearing, and you pay good attention. And Matthew Stafford, man, you could really tell that he struggled with finding meaning. That his habitual mindset during all that losing, and why he didn't stick around in Detroit for Dan Campbell's rebuild. Because I was thinking about it while I was listening to him talk. You know, as good as these Rams are this season, imagine if that weren't Jared Goff, that were Matthew Stafford back there. Jared Goff's a little bit younger, but he doesn't have anywhere near the I'll just fit it through that keyhole attitude, mentality that Matthew Stafford has. And some of that is from the fact, some of that mentality that, well, fuck it, is from how meaningless every pass is. If every pass adds up to be meaningless, then so does every completion, so does every incompletion, so does every interception, so is every touchdown. If one action, the end result is meaningless, then every action that makes up the middle is meaningless. You see?
And so Detroit found a way to make the game meaningless to him. And now I'm not saying that he came through it, that he didn't come through the it of the meaninglessness, that he didn't get on the other side of it in Detroit, that it took coming to LA to get to the other side of it. He probably got to the other side of it in 2010 or 2011, if 2009 was the winless season. That's not the point. The point really is that when you guys approach me, I can tell by the words, I can tell by the idiom, I can tell by the sentence structure, I can tell by your punctuation, I can tell by your typos what kind of person you are, what you've been through, what you haven't been through, what you've faced, what you haven't faced, what you know, what you care about, what you don't care about. I can do all of that. I could psychoanalyze you like that from one comment in the tweets, one comment in the section. I can psychoanalyze you like that from one tweet. And so could you. I could teach you how. But you don't actually want to defend yourself. You want to be a victim. I know that because you keep accusing me of being a victim, which, if I were a victim, if I were a person who suffered from or struggled with the victim mentality, you would hear me use the word victim a lot. You would hear me say it. You would hear me say it about myself. You would hear me use victim language. You would hear me use synonyms for victim. And you would hear me talk about my victimhood. But you never hear that because I am a victim. But because I'm also effectively, from your perspective, a superhero, I don't think of myself as a victim. Because see, I have heroes who aren't losers like all of your heroes. Yeah, my hero would whoop your hero's ass. You want to do that sometime? You want to sit down and do a comparison, my heroes versus your heroes? Because I guarantee my heroes are cooler. Guarantee my heroes are better. Just from a philosophical good life perspective, my heroes are better because many of my heroes are just philosophers. People who actually lived the philosophical good life, and when they didn't live it, they pioneered it because they wrote about it first. Because they wanted it first. So they sought it first, and they approached it first, and they reached it first. And in that way, they're explorers. And so you are a fully 21st century postmodern, very likely neoliberal college student. Whether you're a college graduate, college dropout, or currently enrolled in college, that's what you most likely are. And as that thing, you're anti-colonial, which means you're anti-exploration, which means you are in fact anti-human. And we could get into that someday too. You go into my pocket. I don't know if you can tell, but it's cold. I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting, but it's snowing balls, and I can't feel my left hand. You go in my pocket so I can grab a carton of beer. And you know, it's funny to me while I light this cigarette. I had to walk across the patio here and make a big show. That noise, that horrible noise you just listened to, by the way, was completely outside of my control. That was the snowplow driving through this parking lot. Man, did I get here? I'm gonna be so annoyed if I got here just late enough that I'm gonna miss therapy. Fuck, I'm not gonna be able to light this lighter either because it's gonna be frozen. No! I don't have enough money to replace it. And see, well, I've got you in my pocket. Matthew Stafford's struggle with the meaningless, whether it's in my head, it's fictional, or it's not. Whether it's just a good parable, because he's a person that, he's only a few years older than I am. But he's a person that I intensely watched. I watched closely because he's very good at the game. And then, more importantly, he's a person who struggled. He had to have struggled with all the losing because he's not a loser. You got to remember, like people like him, the reason they're successful is because they don't identify with the losing. They don't identify with their temporal situation. They think of their temporal situation. They think of their temporal situations as temporary. So when the good is good, it's good. When the good is bad, it's bad. But it's also temporary. It's only temporary. This too shall pass. And they feel that way, these athletes, these people who are truly great, truly successful, they think this way whether they're winning, whether they're losing. They don't identify with their temporal situation. They identify with the man under all of that stuff, with the human being under all of the winning. They identify with the thing that remains consistent. But eventually, it starts to stack up. And you do start to wonder, well, I do all this losing. Does it define me? Am I a loser? And here comes the bus. So, we'll talk later.